Hi, welcome to my channel, Moving to Fort Myers. I'm your host, Jessica Gatewood, and today I'm going to talk to you about the school system in Fort Myers and the surrounding area of Lee County. On my previous video, 5 things you need to know before moving to Fort Myers, you'll hear me talk about the Lee County public school system transitioning to a proximity zone system. So the elementary school transitioned to proximity zone this school year, 23 to 24. The middle schools are moving it for next school year, 24 to 25. So that's a huge factor when you're deciding whether to do a public school or a private school or a charter school, which I'll dive into more as we continue here. So public schools are funded by the government through tax dollars. So this means they're also regulated by the government. So they have a state standardized curriculum they have to follow, and which also means they have a state standardized testing system that they follow. So there's no leniency in how that your kids are taught or what decides, if they're on track to continue to the next grade. It's very, very standardized. Public schools also tend to face issues with overcrowded classrooms. Sometimes you'll see 30 kids to one teacher, which, that's just a tough situation. So the last thing I wanted to note about public schools is that they are on, back to this proximity zone system. We've been on a school choice system for the last 17 years, which means that you could choose any school in the district. There was like east and west zones. So you could choose, you had a form to fill out where you could put in order from 1 to 20 your top schools. And it was a lottery system, but you could essentially go to any school in the district. It didn't matter where you live. Now they are transitioning because of busing and transportation issues. They're transitioning back to regulating that you must be within a certain number of miles from the schools that are in your zone. So you now will only have, let's say, instead of 17 schools, you're down to 5 schools that are in your zone. And if you live within 2 miles, you do not have an option to do busing. So they're trying to solve the issue. We have a major issue with not being able to staff enough employees to cover the buses. So when kids are late to school, they're late getting home. So the school district is trying to solve that problem. So right now, the elementary school started that system this year, and the middle schools will transition back into that proximity zone for next year. And then currently, as of today, there was no plan to transition the high school schools back into the proximity as of yet. But, most of them are driving, so maybe they're going to work out some sort of different system for that. I don't know. But so it's important to, when you're moving here and choosing a home, to pay attention to what zone you're in and what schools you get to choose from, and maybe visit some of those schools and make your decision on where to actually buy your home. It's important to think about all of these things. So private schools are funded by tuition and donations. So this means they are not regulated by the government. They are self-regulated, so they have more leniency in their curriculum and the teaching styles that they offer. You'll also see that there are much smaller class sizes. Most of the time it's 2 teachers or a teacher and a teacher assistant to 20 to 25 kids maximum. So that's a huge positive for the private schools. In private school, you tend to have more individualized attention and a personalized education experience. So those are huge positives for the private school system. The tuition varies by school, but it can be a substantial cost. However, we do have in Florida, we have the Step Up for Students scholarship program, which is open to any family that applies and meets the deadlines each year. The state is giving scholarships and tuition assistance to most families. So lastly, we have the charter school system, which is kind of your happy medium of public versus private. The charter school is a publicly funded school, but they're independent of the public school system, so they're not regulated on their curriculum. However, they do have to meet state standards for their students' progression and education. The charter schools tend to have smaller class sizes. They do an open enrollment lottery style system, so they only take a certain number of students and then it goes to a wait list. There is no tuition for charter schools. However, you do typically require to do volunteer hours at the school to contribute to, the cost of your child going there. So all of the school systems have regulations on their teachers' qualifications and certifications. So that's kind of standard across the board. All of the schools also offer extracurricular activities. They are dependent on that school's particular budget and staffing abilities. So they vary from school to school, but every school you'll see in our county offers some extracurricular after-school programs. So essentially the choice between private or public or charter depends on your child's educational needs, your personality styles, and your financial ability. It's important to research and even visit specific schools in the district to get a better idea of where is the best fit for your family. If you found this video helpful, I would appreciate you sharing it with anybody else that you know that is moving to our area. Also, don't forget to hit the like and subscribe button. If you have any questions or want more information on the schools in Lee County, you can leave me a comment or message me on the email or phone number that is below. Thanks for tuning in, and don't forget to catch my next video. I'll see you soon.